Okay, here's another example of trends in categorical data. And again, this is a really tough but good skill for your understanding when you're trying to relate frequency to relative frequency. Because so often, and this happens all the time in the real world, our intuitions confuse the two. So it takes some careful thinking to kind of parse them apart and be able to relate them. Okay, so anyway, this is I guess a guy named Adam who's he's recording data about whether his mother is grouchy or not and whether it's raining. And his intuition is that she's grouchier when it rains. She's always grouchy when it rains. Um, but what he finds out is when he charts this is that um, it's actually being grouchy and it being rainy are actually independent events in total, completely. Okay, so whether the mom's grouchy or not is independent of whether it's raining or not. And this gives us enough information actually to fill out this table. Now we have all the row and the column totals here. Okay, so the first thing we should know is that this plus this is going to add up to 3, and this plus this is going to add up to 27. This plus this adds up to 10, and this plus this adds up to 20. Okay, but now we have to figure out how to use the fact that being rainy and grouchy are independent of each other, which just means if they're independent of each other, it's not like on a rainy days, it's any more likely that the mom will be grouchy. If they're independent, they have the same probability on a rainy day being grouchy. You have the same probability of being grouchy on a rainy day or a non-rainy day. Okay, so that means that this percentage, if let's say there's a 1 here in this row, okay, that would mean that um, this percentage, which is equals to 10% of the time, right, should be the same as this divided by this. Okay. If it's a 2 there, the percentage should be the same. This divided by this should be the same as this divided by this. Okay. It shouldn't be any more likely that she's grouchy when it's raining than when it's not raining. Okay. So if we think about the different values we could put in here, let's say we put in a 2 here. Okay. So that's 20% of the time that she's grouchy when it's raining. If it was also going to be 20% here, what's 20% of 20? That's going to be what, 4? Okay. But then our row totals don't add up. So 2 plus 4 is 6. Okay. We can only have 3 here. So this definitely couldn't be a 3. Okay. 30%, then what's 30% of 20? That's 60. Sorry, that's 6. So this 3 plus 6 would be 9. The row total's way too big. So we have to get smaller. If we go down to 1, right, 1 divided by 10 is 10%. What's 10% of 20? That's 2. Okay, so now this time the row total actually works out. 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. Okay, so that lets me know that both the row works, plus I have grouchy being independent of whether it's raining or not, because I have the same probability. Okay, and that's the hardest part to see, is what it means for two things to be independent, is that they have the same probability of happening whether it's raining or not. Now this is easy. Once you have these two numbers, you just know this plus this has to equal 10, so this has to equal 9, and then this has to equal 18. Okay, because 2 plus 18 is equal to 20, and the column totals work out. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Just to show you the equations, if it was a little too much to do it all in your head, kind of like I was just playing with the numbers there, you can actually solve this system of equations. This is the equation that says that the row has to equal 3. That first number plus the second number has to equal 3 for the row total to work. And this is that the events are independent. That this divided that, the number of times she's grouchy when it's raining divided by 10 has to be the same probability as when the number of times she's grouchy when it's not raining divided by 20. Okay, so those are just the algebraic way to express it, and then you can just use substitution to solve this if you don't want to just kind of play around with the numbers. So I hope that helps. Well, let's check it just to make sure. Okay, good work. Okay, keep fighting on this skill. It's really important. I know it's tough though.